influxes, where the kilesas spring from, arise from. So I would say the primary word for akusalas, if you want to see the process, it is asavas. We call them taints. We could say different words. I would say influxes. There are 4 influxes. Kamasava, bhavasava, they are not here, okay? Kamasava, bhavasava, ditthasava, avijjasava. That means all the defilements arise from either from sensuality or from the existence, becoming. Right? Now, when people offer dana, they are thinking, may I be born in the heaven? Right? Kilesas. And then ditthasava, wrong view. Right? You have wrong view, you do all the akusalas. Finally, avijjasava, that is the higher version of the asavas. Avijja means ignorance. I think we have to first define what they are in the Pali context, and then we will go to the kilesas and then talk about these techniques. But we have to first know what we are going to overcome. Otherwise, we only discuss the techniques, we don't know what we are going to overcome. First, kamasava. How do we understand kamasava? Do we need sensuality in our life? Do we need kamas? Do we or do we not? Yes. Why do we need them? We simply need them. But where is the problem? The problem is when we bring our kamas to greed, our likes to the point of greed. That is an issue. I'm not talking about a monk. Don't confuse. I'm talking about lay people. Some people, they are confused about the monastic Buddhism and the lay Buddhism. They are confused. They take all them together. Where is the problem that they are struggling after? So, kamasava means the first type of asavas, long A, R, S, A, V, A, asava. They are the roots, influxes, where the roots of the kilesas start from. So when somebody develops one's kamas to the level of, I would say, lobha, then that person creates kamasavas a lot. If you happen to come to our Sutta class, you will learn more. Okay, this is kind of a very concise talk today. Can talk a lot of things. And then second is bhavasava, B, H, long A, V, long A, bhavasava. As I said, anybody who wishes to be reborn in that place, they are creating another type of asavas. And the Buddha says in his first sutta, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, it is a tanha. It is not even asava, it's a tanha, kama tanha, bhava tanha. That means craving to be. It is a tanha, not even a normal thing, not even a greed. Some people do it in different ways. Next life, I'm going to kill you. They take it different, in a different detour way. Some people say, oh, next life, let's be reborn together. Once, even the Buddha granted permission, okay, if you have good intentions, you are a couple, you want to be reborn again, yes, you could do so by practicing equal saddha, equal sila, equal chaga, equal panya, equal morality, equal trust, equal generosity, equal wisdom. That means both have to have the same level of those moral things. But anyways, becoming, it is an asava in the fundamental level. Then third one, ditthasava, ditti. That means ditti is a neutral word, I would say. It could be sammaditthi or micchaditti. But ditti, according to the Buddhist teachings is the worst akusala. Have you ever heard that before? Now if you see the degree of the akusala in terms of the result after you done it or by the time you do it, maybe the repercussions now, at the same time next, if you look at akusalas that way, the Buddha says Micchaditti is the highest, I would say the worst akusala. Highest akusala, worst akusala. Why is it? People add rationalizations to the bad karma, bad activity. I am going to destroy that person's reputation. That is a bad thought, right? How do we call it? We call it as a, what is the Pali word for that thinking? I am going to destroy someone's popularity, someone's recognition, someone's reputation. How do we call in Pali that particular bad state of mind? Abhijja, not abhijja, vyapada. We call it in English ill will, right? Ill will. So where does ill will come from? And you think it is okay to do that? Mentally you are justifying that akusalas are okay to be done. Where does it come from? Miccha, the wrong view. You have a wrong view. When you have wrong view, you kill other people, you steal, you misbehave, you lie, you talk behind the back, you hurt other people, you engage in gossiping, idle chatting, you are too much into lobha, and then you are having ill will. Last is Micchaditti. That means Micchaditti is the worst akusala. If you have it, you will do all the akusalas. Interesting. So that ditti, whatever the taints, whatever the asavas that you are doing with Micchaditti come under the third type of asava, ditthasava. Finally, avijjasava. When you develop all these three asavas, you are creating a huge ignorance, a perpetual sense of ignorance about the whole sansara. So as a being, you never know what you are doing, right? You simply were reborn, you simply exist, you simply eat to live, and you die one day. According to Buddhism, that's a life of not having meaning, right? So asavas. Then we talk about kilesas. So whatever the, I would say, subsidiary, subsequent states of mind that start from asavas, they are called kilesas. And there is another type of defilements, we call them as upakilesa, U-P-A kilesa. Upa means near. Those are the ones, when you execute them, you are immediately going to do a kilesa. That's interesting. Let's say you do one of them. I guess there are 16 upakilesas, as you can see in the Majjhima Nikaya, in couple suttas, in the first couple of suttas. Once you execute one of them, you immediately going to do the rest of the kilesas. Now one is maya. Let me tell you, maya. Maya means having done an akusala, you want to keep it as a secret. Maya. No, don't compare with people who have the name as Maya, right? Like Mahamaya. Maya in the upakilesas mean the nature of concealing your own akusalas. You've done it, but you conceal it. That is why among the monks, even as lay people, at the end of Buddha Puja, you say, Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang acchayang kamame bhante. If I have done any mistake in the way of body, speech, mind, please I apologize to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, right? So nobody should conceal. That is one of them, maya, the nature of concealing one's own akusalas. You should not tell everybody that you did this and that, and you're going to be very vulnerable at that point, right? In Christianity, they have something called expiation. You're going to go to the church and you don't see the priest, you talk to somewhere and then you don't see the priest doesn't see you, and then you are saying something like that, kind of protecting the privacy, and then you get in the solution. You should never tell your such things to everybody. I mean, to someone like a Kalyana Mitta, where you can get that release. One of them is Maya, Upakkilesa. There are many others. I would say Saramba. Saramba, I can't type them here. Saramba, S long A R A M B H A. When you go home, you can look it up on Google. Saramba means the nature of trying to emulate others' good or bad action. Let's say someone gives a dana over here. So you think that you want to do a better dana than that person. It's a upakkilesa. Let's say someone does a good thing, offers flowers, but you think you want to emulate that person, I want to do better than that person. Even the good thing, you are creating akusala. Sarambha. This can go to the bad side too. Somebody does a bad thing, like as you can see, those gangsters, they clash each other. I'm going to do more harm to you. So the nature of emulation in the good way or bad way. So the thing here is that once you have sarambha, then you are going to pick up on the dosa, anger, right? Maybe lobha, overall moha. So they are called as upakkilesa. Now asava, kilesa, I would say asava, kilesa, upakkilesa. The nature I would say asava, upakkilesa, then kilesa. In this way there are many such categories, but these are the main ones. Next time if you want to search, if you want to investigate more about it, you can see the order asava, upakkilesa, kilesa. Alright, now you can see the word asava here, right? Asava, right? Asava means those taints, those influxes. The Buddha says in this second sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya that there are 7 ways to tackle, to overcome, I would say, influxes, or some people translate this to be defilements, whatever the roots of the akusalas. Is it a good news for us? That's a good news. At the time you have not particularly specified what could be the certain way, this way, that way, to certainly focus on specific akusalas. That means I give you this green light. Specific akusalas should be overcome in specific ways. There are 7 ways to deal with 7 types of akusalas. Alright, first, defilements, I would say influx of defilement, akusalas, overcome or given up by seeing, dassana. Some akusalas can be only overcome by seeing. Janato, passato. Janato, passato. Actually, this is something that we have to work on a lot on a daily life, because I would say now we know that we are developing a certain anger toward somebody, right? So that anger is something that anger, you understand that there is anger, but then in that deep down your mental structure, you kind of rationalize that anger. Politicians are corrupted people. They take all our money from us. We pay a lot of taxes, right? Well, we can't do that much unless you changing them by voting. But anyways, there are different angers that can arise. Anyways, anger or jealousy, or maybe regret, remorse, maybe I would say all the types of negative emotions. Even if you take hurting other people, even gossiping, they all are negative states of mind. Most of them can be overcome by seeing them. How can we see them? At the real time, not after it happened. Now we see it, we do a post-mortem after that. Oh, I should not have behaved that way. It's gone already. Should have done at the real time with real data, right? That means now you are coming up with an anger, maybe something related to that. Let's say you are almost going to hurt somebody in the way of speech, almost going to hurt somebody, and you know this is bad, but you're going to make it happen without thinking twice. But the moment you are going to execute, why couldn't you see it? It is because you have not mastered, developed dasana. Dasana is very important. That means, although you know it, but you don't see it in the real time, during the real time. This is not a normal phenomenon. This is related to the thing that the Buddha achieved while he became the Buddha. Can you remember? The Buddha says in his first Dhamma talk, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, that he achieved a certain, an attainment. We call it Yatha Bhuta Jnana Dassana. Anybody familiar with that term? Yatha Bhuta Jnana Dassana. Jnana means knowledge, Dassana means seeing. Yatha Bhuta, reality. The Buddha was able to see things as they are by knowing and then at the same time seeing them. Unfortunately, for many of us, although we know in our own sense, but we don't see the akusala, see how I personally do akusala, you do personally your own akusalas. That part is very important. We will be studying that, after each one, just to tell you the methods by name. Second, asavas given up or overcome by restraint. That means indriya sangvara. Most of the akusalas can be tamed, can be given up, overcome by being calm. Right? That means, how can you be calm yourself? You can calm yourself by taking care of your senses. What are the senses you have? Eyes, nose, eyes, ears. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mind. In the Western context, the Westerners say seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. Can we calm them down? Can we calm down our eyes, at least for a short time? Yes. You are already calming down your eyes now. Come to the retreat, sat down like this, focusing on this whole environment, right? You have been able to do it. How about the sounds? Yeah, probably to some extent. And then the smelling part, nose, yes, sometimes. Tongue, not all the time. People getting all the problems, diabetes, cardiovascular issues, pressure, most of the time because of the food. Don't know how to slow down, how to stop the boundaries of eating, right? All these issues come from not taking care of the tongue, not the mouth, tongue. People take care of the mouth very well, brushing and dental care, they do it very much, but not the tongue. For us, I think the hardest sense faculty to protect could be the tongue, for many people. And then, body. Do we calm down our body? Sometimes, not all the time. And then the mind? Not as much as we do for the rest of the faculties. So if we calm down ourselves, especially calm our senses, we can overcome or give up lots of defilements. Right? So how can we do it? It is us. That means we have to get to know the nature of our own eyes. My eyes and your eyes are different, the way how you have been taking care of your eyes. So I have to know by myself, I have to get to know, get friendly. That means there's another person within us. Get to know, get friendly with our eyes, get friendly with our ears, the way how they function. So that you can overcome most of the influxes, I would say akusalas. Third, defilements or asavas given up, overcome by using. How do we take that? This is some of the akusalas can be overcome by using. Using means, what did we do while we eating today, before we eat? What did you do? We were doing a reflection. What was in the reflection? We are eating not to beautify, not for fun, just for the maintenance of the body. Can that impose a certain kind of a self-discipline on our eating? Yes, it can. The monastics are supposed to think about 4 things when they put on their robes, when they eat, when they take medications, when they consume the kutis, shelters. They have to reflect 4 things. Because they are subsit on the devotees. Otherwise they are indebted to devotees, using them without reflecting, creating huge incurrence of debt toward the devotees. So, but for you here, when you are eating, when you are wearing clothes, when you are consuming stuff, you could think about certain reflections so that you can minimize unnecessary akusalas. We will discuss that later. Fourth, defilements or asavas given up or overcome by enduring, adivasana, patience. Some akusalas can be overcome by having huge amount of, or maybe some amount of patience. Right? How many people say when we go to a prison or correctional facility, if I had spent 1 more minute, I could have not done that. This is a person who is getting rehabilitation in the correctional facility. I was so fast, I just did it. If I took one, probably couple seconds, things could have been changed. Patience. Patience can overcome lots of akusalas, if you could. Fifth one, influxes or asavas, defilements given up by avoiding. Sometimes we have to avoid certain people, certain things. That is also good for not creating more akusalas. Toxic people, toxic things, you know what they are. 6. Influxes, defilements or asavas given up, overcome by dispelling. That means dispelling in the sense of, now that one is physical, this is mental, this part. Physically avoiding, then mentally avoiding. Some people, they do it physically but not mentally. They are struggling after that too. Finally, defilements, asavas, influxes given up by developing bhavana. What does it mean? Meditation. That means some akusalas can be overcome by practicing bhavana. 7 bojjhangas. Bhavana means 7 bojjhangas. That means the popular notion of meditation should be changed. You cannot overcome some akusalas only by a certain meditation. Because when you meditate, you are always good. Huh? You're in the mood, right? You're in the mood and you know what to do. Akusalas arise when you are not in that mood, most of the time. That is where the other six are going to work, function. Alright, so let's see one by one. Now I want to dispel a misconception too. Now, to me, all these 7 are bhavana. You call it bhavana is only the 7th one, but for me, all these 7 are bhavanas, because we have to develop our mind to do all these things. But the problem is, a lot of people only confine bhavana to the last one, which is wrong. Here bhavana means practicing sati, dhamma, vichaya, viriya, piti, passaddhi, samadhi, upekkha, 7 bojjhangas. Alright. Defilements given up by seeing dasana. The Buddha says in this sutta, I would not read all that just to save the time. Maybe you can see it later on if you want to go to the blog. How do we see our akusalas? Thereby we overcome our akusalas. Only by one very particular important activity. What is it? Yoniso manasikara. This is the tool that we have to use if we are going to overcome akusalas by seeing them. Do we see our akusalas? When we see, they are gone. We do sometimes. We do want to see, but then they are gone already. And things happen and people have thought different things about us. Sometimes things can't be, defaulted because that has been already happened. We also see, but after long time. So, the Buddha says, we can see our akusalas only by practicing yoniso manasikara. Now let's figure out what does yoniso manasikara mean. I think you know this word, right? Yoniso manasikara. Yoniso means? Yoniso? Yoniso means from the origin. Manasikara means attention. Manasikara means attention. So we should be able to see anything from its origin. What does it mean? That means in order to find out the problem with our akusalas, if we can go back why this akusala came up, that is where we are going to bring yoniso manasikara to that particular thing. But we take it mostly from halfway, like that mosquitoes example, right? Now what do we do with the mosquito? They have already come inside. If you see everything from yoniso manasikara, you are able to see the nature and the origin of the akusalas. That is a very good way of overcoming akusalas. Second, sangvara. Sangvara, as I told you, it's about taking care of your ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. See? That means you are able to see them properly. You are able to see them at the same time. You are trying to calm your senses all the time. Whenever you are able to calm your senses, then that is a good way of overcoming akusalas. Can we think of an example of calming down our senses? Eyes. How to calm down our eyes? Practically speaking, let me ask you, how do you calm your eyes? That's a good question, right? How do you calm your eyes? That means you don't calm your eyes down. How do you do that? Avoid contact. One day there was somebody who met the Buddha. This is given in the last sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya, Indriya Bhavana Sutta. There he asked Bhante, when I see people I don't like to see, right? Like when I see people I don't like to see, then can I develop my calmness of the eyes? Then the Buddha said, then the blind people will go to Nibbana better than you, faster than you. Do they go like that? No, they don't. Then somebody else came up, said to the Buddha, Bhante, when I hear the things that I don't like to hear, maybe songs, other people's sounds, I just try to avoid such sounds. Can I have an improvement, progress in terms of the calmness of my ears? Then the Buddha said, deaf people will go to Nibbana faster than you. Interesting, right? This is a very interesting sutta, Indriya Bhavana Sutta, 152 Majjhima Nikaya. That means the Buddha said, now you see that there are two ways, that means you can avoid certain people. Could be an extreme, not an extreme, could be a specific event. But the Buddha says, no, you still see them, you still hear, but you are mentalizing in a different way. You are mentalizing, cognizing them in a different way. Like some people tell that, Bhante, we've been saying, reciting Buddhaṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ Saraṇaṃ Gacchāmi since we were kids, but now we know, we cognize what they are now. But at that time, no, because we go to the temple, we just recite them. That means there are many ways to feel, understand these things, right? So calmness. So when you calm yourself, then definitely your senses, there is room for you to overcome many akusalas. That means you are still seeing, but what is happening within your mindset is different than before. Patisevana, that means using. As I told you, see, now monastics, they normally wear clothes to ward off cold, heat, ward off the touch of flies, mosquitoes, wind, sun, only for the use of the robes. That means the same way, you are eating, you are having your shelter just for that purpose. You may be a lay person, but you are thinking, I'm using just to sustain, just to maintain my life in all these ways. What could be the akusalas that could come from not reflecting your eating habits, maybe your clothes, medications or shelter? What kind of akusalas that can pile up? Especially when you have lots of liking towards clothes. Of course you can, as a layperson you can. But if you're having too much lobas towards your clothings, that could be a problem. That is why the Jains thought we're going to find a very hard solution for this. They said we're going to be naked. They took that option, which is pretty extreme actually. The Buddha says, no, you still can wear your clothes, but do not attach, do not have loba towards clothes. It is the mind, not that you physically distancing from the comforts. That's a wrong impression. But the Jains were very extreme. We're not gonna wear any clothes. Ni ganta. Ganta means clothes. Ni ganta, no clothes, no attachment to the body, the clothes. That's a very funny and unwise way of finding how to overcome the greed. Right? You still like things, you keep them, but you are not developing greed towards them. That is the skill over there, not physically distancing. Sometimes you may have to, but in your normal life, that is how you're going to do them. What are the other things that may come from not reflecting on the things you eat, you use? Let's take the food. Not many people eat food just to maintain themselves, right? Just to survive, right? They have different thoughts. What could be the akusala level of thoughts that they may have with eating food? Developing a lot of greed towards one's body. We have to be health conscious, we have to eat proper food. Now there are a lot of apps to monitor your calorie intake, your protein intake is good. But at the end, if you develop a greed toward your body, that may not be a good thing. But if taking care of the body is good, you still go for a calorie intake, protein checker, it's good, go for it. You have to be health conscious, but do not develop loba towards anything about the body. Because if you do not take care of the body, you will be sick, you can't practice Dhamma. You will suffer. You will create dosa, anger towards you. You see the people, healthy people, why am I not like that? Right? That's not good. Take care of the body without developing loba towards the body. What about other things? Medications? Are there any akusalas that can come from the use of medications? What if you use some of the drugs too much? That could create some intoxication, right? Some narcotic substance, if you extremely use them, you will create akusalas, intoxication. Then you don't know what you are doing. Then you will cause some harm towards other people. So that means if you reflect upon what you eat, what you wear, and what you take as medicines, and where you are in your life now, that can also sort of reduce the ancillary relevant akusalas. That's what you call by defilements or asavas given up by using. You have to use them, but while you using, your mind is mounted upon those reflections. Asavas given up by enduring, adivasana. Let's read that part, just to understand. And what are the defilements that should be given up by enduring, by being patient? Take a monk who, reflecting properly, endures cold, heat, hunger and thirst. They endure the touch of flies, mosquitoes, wind, sun and reptiles. They endure rude and unwelcome criticism. And they put up with physical pain, sharp, severe, acute, unpleasant, disagreeable and life-threatening. For the distressing and feverish defilements, asavas that might arise in someone who lives without enduring these things do not arise when they are endured. Alright, the example comes from the monastics, but the overall idea is common to everybody. Let's talk about compliments and criticisms that we normally get from other people. Do you get more compliments or more criticism? What do you get more? Don't be shy, say yes or no. What do you get more? Do you get criticism or constructive criticism or compliments? You don't get anything, huh? What do you get more in your life? Criticism, just be honest. You can't practice Dhamma without being honest. Forget about it. You will never practice. This is an inner journey. You will show that you are a good person, but inside you are struggling. You will never be progressing in the path. You don't need to tell other people, but you have to be honest to yourself. That means we get lots of criticism. But if the criticism comes from a constructive angle, at least we can accept in a way. And we don't get that much compliments. But some people get lots of compliments because they are surrounded by Kalyana Mittas, good people, really good people who are taking care of others well. They always compliment, you are a good person, you have done this, thank you for this, and you were there, and all the good things. But when you are with the Papa Mittas, they always say something negative, right? Complain, something didn't work very well, always that winning, and then negative stuff all the time. Now don't try to hate them, huh? But anyways, whatever happens to us, compliments, criticisms, constructive criticism, we have to develop a certain mindset for all these things. What could be the best mindset we can develop towards compliments and criticisms? What is it? It is none other than the upekha. What is it? Upekha. Upekha means you are not moved by anything. Anything. Not even happiness or compliment. You just simply observe. And we call it, there's a sutta for that actually. Loka Vipatti Sutta. That means there are 8 things. Labho, alabho, ayaso, yasu, ninda, pasansa, sukha dukkha. Labha, gains, alabha, loss. Then ayaso, yaso, fame, defame. Ninda, prasansa, blames and praise. Sukha, dukkha, happiness, unhappy. So these 8 things are working like a circle, right? That means when some people are going through darkness, other people are going through happiness. It's like the moon and the sun that work in many places in the world now. For some people now it is darkness, right? For some people it is the sunlight at this point. So these things are always rotating here and there, right? Then what is the mentality that we have to develop for all these things is upekha, equanimity. That means it is not that you are not accepting other people's criticism or compliments. You may say thank you for the compliment, okay, I understand that I made a mistake, but deep down in your heart you are not moved by those changes. There you find happiness. Otherwise you are unhappy all the time. Even though you have lots of things, you have money, you have people, but you are suffering inside, struggling inside. So other thing is that people give meaning to all these 8. When you give lots of meanings to them also, there may be issues where you cannot handle them. So if you can handle them properly with upekka, that means you are not creating akusalas under the 4th way of overcoming akusalas. What if you are not a patient person for this? You are not someone who is not able to see such things with patience. What will happen immediately? Someone is going to criticize you. What could be your response to that person? Not a good one, right? It will go on and on, right? So that means kanti. Kanti means patience. In many suttas, Buddha says kanti is the root of all the kusalas. What does it mean? You cannot practice dana, you cannot practice sila, you cannot practice bhavana, nekkama, any other good virtue if you do not have kanti, means patience. Say for instance, you have to be patient now. Listen to me. You have to be patient just to spend the time. If you want to practice dana, how much patient should you have to be? You have to prepare yourself. A lot of things going on. Other things are the same. Even for anything in your life, if you are not a patient person, you won't be able to do it. That means patience can help you overcome many issues. There are some individuals who are naturally very patient. Most of them are not. Even some animals, they are very domesticated naturally. I mean, they are not forced to domesticate, but they are domesticated already. Kind of very tame. Some animals, some cats, some dogs, but some are not. Majority don't. Same like humans. Some are very patient. If you say anything, they are very calm and quiet. You say, oh, this person is so calm. But I'm not like that. So, most people, they have to practice, they have to develop patience over time. Otherwise, they are creating more akusalas during the time. 5th one, avoiding parivajjana. See an example. Take a monastic who, reflecting properly, avoids a wild elephant on the way, a wild horse, a wild ox, wild dog, a snake, stump, thorny ground, a pit, cliff, swamp, and so on. What does it mean? That means sometimes we have to avoid certain individuals, because if we are with them, we are creating akusalas. Have you experienced that? Have you experienced that being with somebody can make you more akusalas? Relationships, friendships, co-workers, workplace, sometimes your other friends. So you are trying to revisit your friend circles. Am I creating akusalas with them? Because we have the herd mentality. When you're with a group of people, herd mentality. We don't know what we do. It's kind of a very normal phenomenon. Like when you go to swim with a bunch of group in the ocean, you far more vulnerable to drown in the ocean. Why is it? Because herd mentality. Because you are with many people, you never care about yourself. But when you go alone, you go, you carefully get into the water, and then you do it, you come back. Some people get into bad habits because of herd mentality. The first cigarette came into hand to somebody because other people smoke, and they gave this cigarette. Like that. That means, I would say, we can certainly distance some individuals. Even we can ignore some of the inanimate things. Now here you can see thorny ground, a pit, a cliff, swamp and a sewer. That means if you know that some of the physical things are not good for you to carry on your life, you're going to avoid such places. Both people and things. That will be helpful for you to not to create akusalas. Do we create akusalas because of thorny ground? Let's say there is a thorny thing that you got pricked. What is the first impression that you have when it is pricked? Anger, frustration, why it happened to me? Those are, so you're avoiding stuff. You don't are getting into the places of snakes. I would say some of the wild animals, because when you are in that place, you are going to definitely face some difficulties with them. Yeah, even a stump, even a cliff, where the dangers are always waiting for other folks. So then you are avoiding certain people. I would say papa mitta, not kalyana mittas, right? If you want to be surrounded by kalyana mittas. Avoid certain bad individuals and then certain things, inanimate things. What does it mean by distancing bad people? How did the Buddha ask us to be with other people? Did the Buddha say, if somebody is a papa mitta, not a kalyana mitta, we are just walking away from that place, we don't say hi and bye to them? Is that how the Buddha said to us? No. We have to always keep that normal friendship with everybody as much as we can. That is metta. But we are not going to get closer to them, not having that intimacy with them, because intimacy will create confusion. But we should never walk away, we should never give that bad face to anybody, because we have to practice metta. Every being, maybe people we like, people we don't like also. We have to practice metta, right? Unconditional friendliness. I remember what happened to one monk, I shared with you in the Sutta class. There was a monk who was bitten by a snake, he passed away in the Buddha's temple. Very interesting story. That monk has been practicing metta a lot. Every day he is practicing metta. Even when someone talks to that monk, he says, yeah, I'm going to spread metta to you. But he passed away. He was bitten by a snake, venomous snake in the temple. Then other monks told the Buddha, he passed away because there was a snake attacking him. So if he practiced metta, how come snakes attack him? Right? Then the Buddha said, yes, he practiced metta, but not to every groups of reptiles. Then he started saying, Virupakkehi me mettam mettang erapatehi me Chabbya me mettam mettang kanhagwa. There are 4 types of reptiles. That means the monk did not identify separately these snakes. So they did not feel the metta from him. That's the problem. Other people have to feel your metta. If you don't know them, how are they going to feel them? You just say, may all livings be well and happy. Where are they? Who are they? Where are they living? A certain identification is necessary. Then the Buddha says, Virupakka means black snakes. Chabbya means pythons. I mean, he was specifically giving different types of snakes at that point, maybe reptiles. That means in our metta practice, we have to do a lot. Do a lot, not may I be well and happy. Do a lot, go beyond. That's interesting. So that means we should be able to be friendly with anybody, but not be intimate with anybody. We're going to be intimate to, an extra layer of friendship to Kalyana Mittas. That is how we're going to do. But Kalyana Mittas are our priority. But I think we're going to talk about Vinodana, dispelling. Now, physically we are distancing from people and other things, just to protect us, not to create akusala. Sometimes, I think the most important part of that process is mentally avoiding such things. Although we physically distance them from us, we might be struggling mentally. How to do it? It is said, take a monastic who, reflecting properly, does not tolerate a sensual, malicious, cruel thought that has arisen but gives it up, gets rid of it, eliminates it and obliterates it. And for the distressing and feverish defilements that might arise in someone who lives without dispelling these things do not arise when they are dispelled. Now, not even we distance people and things, we have to dispel the mental structures attached to such people in our mindset, right? So we may have some mental attachment, I would say maybe attachment or aversion towards them. Sometimes you distance them, but you still carry their things in your mind unnecessarily. Right? I found somebody who blocked someone on social media and asking me, saying that I have a bothering feeling, notion. I always check my block list whether that person can come back again or not. I said, you already blocked. I don't know, maybe he or she can come back again to the list. So that means if you distance such, you should not worry about again and again. That means you are creating a lot of unnecessary things for them. Now this mental part, physical part you were able to do. Finally, bhavana, that means developing the awakening factors of mindfulness, sati, dhamma vichaya, investigating dhamma things, then virya, energy, piti, rapture, then virya, piti, passaddhi, tranquility, samadhi, concentration or immersion, upekka, equanimity. So these things only arise when you are able to let go all these things. If you let go, if you renounce, then they will be substituted easily. Otherwise, you will be struggling with all the other asavas. All right, now you can see that these are the 7, techniques to overcome defilements, asavas. That means your asavas can come differently. Different asavas should be tackled down with different approaches, not with one approach. So get ready for that.